All right, everybody. It's time for Pass Coverage Thursday on a Saturday. Yeah, I know. I made you wait a little longer, but hey, the NFL made us wait a little longer for the game, so I figure you can wait a little bit longer for the data. And we have some interesting stuff here. A lot of it's fairly predictable, honestly. But mostly the linebackers got targeted, and our cornerbacks gave up a couple big plays, but not bad at all. I'm not. I can't complain too much about any of the stuff here. It it's kind of predictable when you're running out of defensive backs the way we are. This Seahawks team is running out of defensive backs. Period. So it's not easy. So on that note, let's take a look at the linebackers. They got targeted a decent chunk in this game. Bobby Wagner was targeted, I think, like 9 times, gave up 7 completions for, what was it, 61 yards. And that makes sense. I mean, he's the guy you definitely want to target, and you know Sean McVay is going to see something like that. He did allow a touchdown in coverage. It was a play where he just looked a little bit slow, but again, when you're putting your linebackers on coverage against Cooper Kupp, that's what you're going to get. So I don't know how mad I can even be about it, and I can't even be mad at the defensive coaching for putting him in that spot because everything just kind of sucks right now. You got no DJ Reed. Trey Flowers is in Cincinnati. Trey Brown is hurt. Marquise Blair is hurt. If you want to throw it in, Jamal Adams is hurt. It sucks right now. So Wagner got picked on, and it's one of the worst games he's had this year in coverage. But I get it. Overall, he's not doing terrible in coverage. I don't think 80 targets for 533 yards is fine, but it's not great. Jordan Brooks, he held up okay. He got targeted 6 times, allowed 4 completions. That's reasonable. Obviously, he gave up the game, well, not game deciding touchdown, but it was the most crucial score of the game. And he gave up 44 yards and the touchdown. Now, obviously, the touchdown was on him, but again, he's covering Cooper Kupp down the field. What are you going to do? I have to look at that and attribute that to the fact that we just don't have defensive backs and players are going to be put in bad situations. So I think Jordan Brooks played a good game against the Rams, and I'm not going to step down from that. So that being said, his coverage numbers this year overall are still pretty bad. He's on pace to allow well over 800 receiving yards this year. It could get up to a point where it's over 50 a game, and that's not very good. Darrell Taylor got targeted once and it fell incomplete in coverage, so nothing new here, just one additional target. And that's it for the linebackers. Cornerback is going to be kind of quick because we didn't see a whole heck of a lot. DJ Reed did not play. Trey Flowers out. So Sidney Jones ended up being basically our number one corner. And he got targeted 5 times, allowed 4 completions. He got picked on a little bit, but I don't begrudge him that because he's our number one corner. You're going to get picked on some. He gave up 42 yards. That's I can live with that, especially given where we were with Sidney Jones not too long ago. I think he played a decent game. I think he's still doing fine. Very impressed with his development. And he, you want to talk about a guy really getting thrown into the fire. Sidney Jones being told to be your number one cornerback against an offense like the Rams on the road. That's something where I'm going to give you a little bit of slack. So good for him. He continues to grind. And I'll say it again. Of all the surprising things with this team, the one of the very few positive surprises has been what Sidney Jones is doing right now. Bless you on Austin got killed a little bit by PFF, I think because of the holding call, but I'm sorry. I'm looking at that holding call. I'm still just not seeing it. I don't see it. I know the NFL kind of defended it, but I don't see it. So he got targeted 3 times and allowed 1 completion for 9 yards. So I'm going to call that a pretty good game because Austin did play quite a bit. And I can certainly take that from my number two corner. He's another guy who is holding his own in admittedly limited snaps. And if we choose to bring back Carroll and Norton and all this stuff next year, he may very well be involved. The only other cornerback who played significant snaps was Ugo Amadi. He gave up one pretty big play. He got targeted twice and only gave up the two completions, but he ended up giving up a decent chunk of yards, 56. So that's not what you want to see. Ugo overall has had an okay year. It's not great. He seems like he's a competent nickel corner, but I can't give him too much more than that. He might be on the low end of good, but he's definitely something that I'm looking to hopefully improve on next year. I know he's still under contract, but it is a third year. You could let him go with very little harm done. So, yeah, overall, I'm going to say the corners played fine. I think the corners held up. Granted, a big part of the problem is that the Rams were able to just kind of go at the linebackers willy nilly, but they they did their thing. I'm happy with that. And finally, we have safety. Jamal Adams obviously not playing, so Quandre Diggs got another interception. He, according to PFR, got targeted once and allowed one completion for. Hold on one second here. I think it was 18 yards. Now that may seem a little bit confusing because, like, wait a minute, he got an interception. Didn't he get targeted there? I'm pretty sure they gave the target to the cornerback who was covering Cup on that play, which I think might have been Austin. But either way, it wasn't Diggs. Diggs came over and made the interception, but he wasn't the one who got targeted. Regardless, Diggs continues to have a very good year. I don't think he's allowed a touchdown yet this year that I would give him credit for, and or put the blame on for, I guess would be a better way of putting it. And his QB rating allowed is still below 49. Very good. And Ryan Neal, I think he got targeted once and allowed one completion for 9 yards. So he's fine. I mean, he played that whole game, and he's filling in the Jamal Adams role, so I will take that. I will take that any day of the week from a safety who plays every snap. Overall, his season in coverage has not been all that good, but he's Ryan Neal. I'm not going to expect the world of him. I still think he's a modestly good player. And that's it for pass coverage. Pass coverage Thursday on a Saturday. So we're almost caught up. We're getting there, but the big picture kind of remains the same. These linebackers really get picked apart in coverage. And hats off to the cornerback room for staying in the fight despite not having a lot of guys that they were expected to have. I should probably add John Reed to this chart because he did play a little bit. I don't know how much he got targeted, if at all, but I don't think he was a big part of that game. And yeah, that continues to be the story of the season for the Seahawks in pass coverage. Not surprising, but nevertheless illuminating. All right, see you guys later today. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think.